discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition to the New to Wrestling podcast after dark. I am a little flustered, which is why I just realized I said hello and not good evening, which is always how I start. I'm a little flustered by our guest today because he has been everywhere, done almost everything you can think of in the independent scene, plus more. I mean, just there's a lot of words to describe this person. I mean, an absolute savant in wrestling offensive, an incredible, like if you want a clinic on submissions, like this is the person to study. I mean, let's just get right into it because I just want to get right into the meat. But guys, please, 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 it is the highest, with the highest honor and respect, we welcome Anthony Gangone, Dr. Sleep, to the show today. Thank you so much for
Oh,
coming.
hello, and thank you for that introduction. Probably the best one I've ever had. So I
Whoa, thank
appreciate
you.
that.
And
Yes,
Love
you,
that. You've done a few
I was gonna
a few
say,
of
and you've
these.
done a lot of interviews, so I will take that and deposit that in the bank. Um,
absolutely.
Thank you. Also, I am such a huge fan of turtlenecks, so I really appreciate your like commitment to the craft of the turtleneck. It means everything to me.
I appreciate that, especially during the summer. People don't really like it. They say, "Oh, it's too hot out there for that," but I feel very comfortable in it, so I appreciate that. Thank
And
you.
protect the neck,
Yes,
always.
yes.
Always protect the neck.
There's some vampires out there, so you know.
Girl, and that's a word. They're
Mm,
not speak on that. But
mm.
so you have said in many interviews previously that your origin story into wrestling is not that interesting. You're like, I watched professional wrestling and I never gave up on it, and I just have always been doing this. But to me, what is interesting about it, what makes it such an interesting story, is the fact that you never gave up on it. We hear so many times, like, I kind of like dipped out around the 2000s, like, kind of like, meh, like, whatever. But somehow you very persistently, like, no, I just never gave up on it. I was always a fan. Even when my friends started dropping off, I always stayed committed to it. So, and you just always knew you wanted to be a professional wrestler. How does like that transition occur? Like from I've just like never gave up on it as a fan, and now I'm really in the space where, because you debuted, I think, in 2013.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like now, I mean, like you're in such a beautiful place in your career, like after this like really lovely chunk of time. Like how do you think that like that transition from being a very persistent fan has like aided you in being just a very persistent, like solid wrestler in your career?
I that is one way of looking at it, I think. Maybe I haven't thought of that myself, but I don't know. It's just you know, you have wrestlers on and they talk about their story, and a lot of them they've been a fan for since they were a kid, and that's why I don't find it very interesting. But I guess I do understand your point that I never really gave up on it and I never just stopped watching. And I maybe don't watch as much as I used to. And, you know, because I used to watch everything that was on TV, things from Japan, things from Mexico, so everything. And I think, yeah, I mean, clearly I've been in the business a long time, so that persistent nature is definitely ingrained in me. So I guess in a way you could look at it from the fan to being a wrestler, that transition, being persistent and not giving up, I guess, is a attribute that would be valuable in this kind of line of work.
Yeah, I love that. And especially too, it's you have this great versatility in terms of like you're so persistent in terms of like longevity in the career at this time, but like you've changed so many times. Like you've had so many different iterations. And I love that because we talk a lot about on the show how like there are so many characters who like could put themselves in a box, but somehow they give themselves so much motion like in the wrestling business. And I feel like you are such a great example of that, where it's not like you're constantly reinventing the wheel, but it's like you are constantly reinventing like this image, this style. And so how did you get into Dr. Sleep, like this iteration of Anthony Gangone?
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of it is to I go to these shows and you see a lot of the same people in the audience throughout my career. And I always think about them, and I don't want to be boring. I don't want to do the same thing over and over again. And I want them to be excited every time they see me, even if they've seen me for 10 plus years. So obviously, I've had a few versions of myself. And this version of me, I think, is the most complete version. I obviously have some horror influences, and I'm a big horror fan, and a lot of people get inspiration from wrestling, and I myself have done that as well. But nowadays, it's a lot more from other medium, including horror. And I think this is the most me that people get to see outside of, you know, real life, whatever that means.
It's interesting. And to talk about like seeing the same fans like week over week, you have um through your work found yourself the cornerstone of quite a few organizations where you've um really like had mainstay like stretches where like Titan, CCW, and even now like with respect, what does it kind of mean to you to be like in those positions, especially if somebody's like a company's like starting out and they're like kind of, selecting what their company's gonna look like. What does it mean to you to be like chosen it for that?
Uh, so especially at this point in my career, I think if I could say some nice things about myself, I think that it
Absolutely.
does say a lot about me that doing this 10 plus years and people still want to invest their opportunities and time and show space to me. And for me, it means a lot because it means that I'm still a valuable asset to these companies. And doing it 10 plus years now, it's like, okay, I'm still on the right track. And I don't want to be, I always want to be better than I was yesterday. And I feel like I am most times than not. So I'm very proud of that aspect of all this. And yeah, I mean, I'm just a reliable wrestler that, whatever you need, I can make happen with a smile and, that whole professional thing. So, yeah.
It's so interesting you say that too, because I have a quote from you and it was so great. I love this. And it was just because I did something 2 weeks ago doesn't mean I'm going to do any of that shit again. I like to be a hybrid wrestler. So, what does that, by your standard, like by your definition in your own words, like what does that mean, being a hybrid wrestler?
So I don't like to be put into a box.
Mm.
Wrestling very much is about being put into a box. And I've heard before, and this can be accurate, of course, but I've heard before you have to kind of be a wrestler on a fifth grade level to the audience. And for me,
Mm.
I find that to be kind of boring. So as far as being a hybrid wrestler, I really can do anything. Um, I may not be the quality of high flyer of like Mark Quinn or Ricochet, but I can fly if I need to. I can also wrestle, chain wrestle if I need to, or be submission based, or be a really great brawler, and I can be very violent if I want to be, or I can be very fun. And that's kind of how I see myself is that I can really do anything and it can be entertaining for my audience.
Mm. And I mean, it's working for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Do
like,
you?
so, oh, go ahead.
Oh
No, no,
no, go
no, you
ahead.
go. I was
Oh
just
no,
gonna
I was
say,
gonna
like, if
ask.
they're,
Oh, we're doing it. All right.
oh my
No,
God, we've never done that. Go ahead.
LOL. No, I was gonna ask, like, do you find that different promotions see certain sides more? And do you have fun with that? Um, because I
Hmm.
imagine it's if you're, I'm like really close to CZW, but Kelsey's really close to like the Mecca and those kind like shows. Do you find it fun to kind of like play differently to those like promotions, or is it just kind of like you show up and you feel what they're giving you?
I would say that I am very aware of my environment.
Mm,
Hmm.
So I definitely think I have a mindset that I go into every show. Maybe CZW would be a bit more violent.
mm,
Maybe at the Mecca, depending on which show is there, maybe there's a bit more scientific wrestling to it. But yeah, I definitely know what I'm going into for every promotion and the crowd. And on my end, I try my best to at least watch one match before I go out there, and that kind of tells me what I need to be that day.
Hmm.
heard. I love that.
That's I love that. And I feel like watching the match, like even if it's just one, it like really can tell you a lot. Like it can tell you like almost everything that you need to know. Like so that is very interesting. I love that. I was gonna ask before, like because you are such a versatile wrestler, there's that saying like jack of all trades, master of none. But I feel like if someone were to say like jack of all trades, or like you were to say like jack of all trades but master of this, like what would you consider is like either something you really love to do in wrestling like a style, or like something you consider like this is like really my sweet spot?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm really good at all of it. But if I were to pick one,
And you are.
if I were to pick one, I think I, for some reason, really enjoy brawling. So,
Mm.
yes, I get very excited when it comes to actually, I'm currently sporting a
Whoa.
black eye,
Oh my God.
and that was a lot of fun. And everyone's asking about it, and it's like I feel way better than I look. So, I enjoy it.
That's great. That's funny because I just started jujitsu not that long ago, and
Hmm.
I get like covered in bruises, and
Yeah,
like people be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I've never been better. Like this is
yeah,
the coolest shit that's ever happened to me." Like which is twisted, but like the one girl at this video was like, "You are very interesting, like
yeah.
very weird
Yeah.
person." Because and I was like,
Well,
"Thank
I
you."
get the same thing.
Yeah,
So you're in good company.
thank God. And I knew I would be. And
Mhm.
amen. I also am dying to know because yeah, this is more like this is just me kind of being like a little fangirl for just a second because Dr. Sleep, I'm assuming is a reference kind of to Dr. Kevorkian a little bit because you're
Mhm.
doing submissions where you're putting people to sleep.
Mhm.
And I just love the way that this kind of, and I'm assuming you do this on purpose, and I'm not trying to put words into your mouth, but you have this way of talking about submissions too, where you're like, yeah, like I just do it, and I'm sure that they feel a lot of peace, like once the lights go out. Like you have that kind of energy that he has, like complimentary, like where it's like, but I was doing like a good thing. Like I'm helping people be at peace. Like, is that intentional?
Yes, it is
Okay.
intentional. What I would say to that is, you know, when it comes to certain kinds of pain, it can also be very pleasurable, and
Hmm.
that's what I'm really going for. So it may hurt just a little bit, but once you're out, it's very, very peaceful.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're thinking of you as they're passing out and they're just like,
I hope so. I really like to get into that mind. Actually, it's
yeah,
Oh,
been working because a few people have been saying that they've been seeing me in their dreams, and I'm so happy about that.
I
the
love that.
inceptioning is working.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to see you in the dream world. I'll let you know.
Okay, please, please do.
Um, I wanted to ask about the your usage of the mandible claw because in our show we started watching like WWF at the time, in like 1996, which is right around the time Mankind shows up. And Kelsey, I will like remember this forever, just had such a like visceral reaction to that move. And every
Mm-mm.
time like thereafter, like she would see it, it was just it
I
like
still.
yeah, shakes, shivers, it's a whole thing. So like what made you select that move? Is it because of that like visceral reaction that people get? Because it is like, when you think about it, you're like, ah, his fingers are going in there. Ah.
Very
um
invasive.
so it was that a like a conscious choice? Or is it just that like I liked the move, I fell into it?
Yeah. Um, well, I was actually fighting against having to do the move for a
Mm.
while because I did
Mm.
not want to necessarily want that connection.
Hmm.
But I mean, if we're being honest, it just works. So
Hmm.
I have put it into my move set, and it's been very good for me. And what I would say to that is, you do want to kind of look at the past and see what worked and kind of what maybe fits you. And clearly, the mandible claw was one that does that. And for me, when the thing about wrestling and fans and when they're watching, human emotion has always been the same since we existed. So there's
Mm.
anger, there's fear, there's happiness, all that, right? And for me, what I try to sell is being uncomfortable. And there's nothing like having someone put their fingers in your mouth to have that sudden panic of, can I breathe? What's going on? His
Hmm.
fingers are in my mouth right now. What am I going to do? And I think that uncomfortable nature really helps Dr. Sleep out.
For sure. And I would say if anyone here is new to wrestling like me, the mandible claw is not like down your fingers down your throat. It's pressing on the soft palate under your tongue, which is so disturbing.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first saw that and Xavier told, I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? I don't like that. But also part of that is because God bless Mick Foley in every realm. But I know he hasn't washed that shit. I know that thing is so dirty. And then also you're putting that in my mouth. Like that's disrespectful on another level. But the it's the crunching of it's the pinching of the jaw and the palate that is actually really crazy that I don't think people understand. So if you don't know that, that's really what it is. And I would pass out from fear immediately. Like I would get so scared. So I feel like it absolutely makes sense for your character, but I understand wanting to not like always be, because that's like what you said earlier, you try not to always draw inspiration from wrestling because you just don't want to be like just another wrestler. And you had said this quote way back in the day from, there was a very short documentary about you, which was fantastic. But you had said you try to not to draw inspiration from wrestling, and you try to draw a lot of inspo from real world, including film and comics, which obviously you still feel that way.
Yeah.
Um, so what today is inspiring Dr. Sleep Anthony Gangone? Like what is in like the cultural zeitgeist or just in the real world or anything that is inspiring you today?
What I would say is, it's very much in the horror realm. So
Mm.
there's a little bit of um, weapons in there. There's Arthur
Mm.
clowns in there. There's some blast from the past with like Freddy Krueger and Pinhead. So a lot of that goes into the uh, the version of Doctor Sleep that you see today. And yeah, I want to be interesting, and I feel like some of those influences are have more dimension than just I have a knife and I'm gonna kill you. So yeah,
Yeah.
my
You
fingers are my knives, by the way.
Yeah, I would feel that way as
Mm.
well if I was fighting you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, did you have something? Sorry.
It's gonna be on a whole different like tangent if you or want to stay on the topic.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you read a lot? Because you have like the most you have a very beautiful, eloquent use of vocabulary that is lovely.
I don't read as much as I would like.
Mm.
I
So,
feel
but yeah, yeah,
that.
yes. I wish I had more time to read, but mostly I'm in the car and reading while driving is probably not the best idea. Yeah,
And we
Very
thank you for
valid.
that.
yeah. I appreciate that though. Thank you. I'm a terrible texter.
Me
Uh,
too.
Lots of typos, but as far as speaking, I'm very good. Yes.
Yeah, but text is, point, make it fast, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and
Um,
obviously the speaking helps you so much in this business. So, and it again really shows.
Yeah, it's surprisingly it's a difficult thing to have in wrestling, and it takes a while to kind of master. And some of us are able to speak a certain way and really connect to the audience. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
I wanted to ask because you've had some pretty interesting kind of like trainer student relationships and also be on the inverse having like people who started like their own promotion. So I wanted to ask a kind of like do you see like a through line from like that whole arc with like Amazing Red coming from like, Hog learning under him to like having a whole rivalry with him to then being his partner, if you want to just comment on like what that experience was like. And also, I wanted to segue into respect from there. Um, so yeah, if you want to just like take a couple of minutes to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was there for 8 years. He was a solid trainer when it came to the stuff in the ring. Obviously, he's a very inventive person as well, who's influenced wrestling since whatever 2000 2001 is
Hmm.
when that kind of whole low-key red New York style kind of started to become big. Then to face him in probably one of the best matches of both our careers in that no ropes match,
Mm.
and to tell that story. And if you were there at the time at House of Glory, which is a lot different now, um, you remember those matches because of the story and how brutal they were, but how it was very much something you would see on TV.
Right.
And it's probably, I'm not very satisfied with a lot of my matches, but I would say that there's been maybe 5 matches I've been happy with, and the that no ropes match is one of them. And then, obviously we teamed and that didn't go well. But other than that, it was definitely, you got to take every experience in wrestling, both positives and negatives, and let it build you up. They say it builds character. So I feel like it definitely has built my character on who I am today.
Mm.
I does the when you come up with the idea of like a no ropes match, like does that excite you as a wrestler? Does it make you nervous as a wrestler? Because it's such a different story than what you're typically going to be telling. So yeah, does that are you yeah, what are your thoughts like when you go into something like that? That is a completely departure from like what you're used to.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't invent it, but it was definitely my idea to do those matches. And
Hmm.
we do have to, the original one was with Mark Quinn of Private Party. And the idea was, well, I was going to take away his advantage of being such a Olympic caliber kind of
High
high
flyer.
flyer.
Hmm.
And then from there, I faced Ken Broadway, and that match was very much just a brutal, brutal match, and it kind of became more of a warfare kind of match. But yeah, you definitely have to go in with a certain mindset because you can't hit the ropes. You can't really use the turnbuckles. So
Mm,
you go in with such a limited move set for certain people. Even submissions, like it works out well if you have the submission on, but if you don't have it on, there's no ropes to break it up or try to get out of there. So it's really a fight or flight kind of situation. And after that kind of segment of matches, they more matches started to become no ropes matches, and they started doing it in like a ball. Obviously, now they do blood sport, and there's no
mm.
ropes and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not something I invented or anything, but it did become popular in that time frame.
Wow.
Great. And then I want to talk just because like you've been around the business for so long. So now you're walking into locker rooms where you are like the veteran. And like, and does that, do you notice that responsibility? Do people put that responsibility on you? Do you welcome that? Yeah.
So what I would say to that, I don't really feel that way, even
Mm.
though it is the reality of it. So I don't feel that way. I still feel like I just started yesterday.
Mm.
Um, but I do see it bearing responsibility on my end in certain places.
Mm.
And I kind of joke sometimes that I feel like I'm an accidental alpha.
Mm.
It's not something that I really was aiming to do. It's
Mhm.
just something that I guess somehow is in me. And, a lot of people feel, their words, not mine, that I'm a good leader. And I accept that humbly, of course.
Mm.
But it's not something I'm attempting to do. I don't go into the locker room and like, I'm the locker room leader here, so everybody
Mm.
listen to me. It's just, I guess it's more of an energy that I give off that people gravitate to.
Mm. And it makes sense having the belt put on you so many times at so many different promotions. And I just saw this fact, and I don't know if it's actually still factually true, but allegedly you are still the longest running title holder of the heavyweight championship belts at House of Glory.
Yeah, I mean, those are facts, yes.
Wow.
Um, I
That
never,
is crazy. Because
yeah.
was it 1,370 something days or
Yeah,
something?
I mean, COVID helped, I think, with that. So, but it was a while before they crowned a new one. Yes,
And you took the belt off of Amazing Red, right?
it did. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Sorry, that was just not a question, but that
Yeah.
was really cool. But also this is just a random thing that jumped into my head that I just remembered is that you had said in an interview that a different style of wrestling match that you would want to do, like a more like random, not like random, but I don't know the word for it, but a match you would consider doing if possible was a buried alive match.
Mm.
Ooh.
Which would you still be willing to do that if the logistics were possible? Because that would Doctor Sleep in a Buried Alive match. We
Right?
also watched Buried Alive not that long ago. I mean, maybe more like a year ago now. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
who knows.
yeah.
But but to me, and not to give away the potential end of something that may potential happen maybe one day in the future, um, is it would be you would have to be the one buried that comes back to life, like Doctor Sleep, like resurrect the hand. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely love to do that. I actually recently was in a casket and it was very comfortable actually. So I think I would do very well in a buried alive match. And let's just say somehow I were to lose that. I'm pretty sure my glove would come out
Mm.
of the
It would
grass or
have to.
dirt. Yes. I really don't think I could really die if I'm being honest with
No.
you.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think my spirit will forever haunt earth. So
and honestly, here's hoping. Because I'm hoping to ask you for advice way into the
yeah,
yesteryears. So I'm
yeah,
hoping.
yes, yes. Oh, do your seance, and then I'll come.
You got it.
You were
And you
Invite
asking
know
the
me
I
right
have
three
the
one.
times
materials.
before we do it. Yeah.
She's
And
got the candles. You're
you
good.
know I got the materials. Um, I also wanted to ask, this is kind of a random left as well, but this really intrigued me because I, again, new to wrestling, so I am not sure necessarily how much it's changed over the years, but you said that you believe at this day and age in wrestling, talent is actually the most important thing when it comes to getting signed. Like you feel like talent is what's actually appreciated nowadays, which is a great like thing for independent wrestlers to see. One, that was pretty recent, so I'm assuming you still feel that way, but like can you just kind of like speak to that a little bit just because like for someone who doesn't know, I was like, was it more of like a like who you knew kind of game, I'm assuming, or like a numbers game? I'm just that was to me such an interesting statement.
Yeah. I think so. There definitely is that aspect of who you know in wrestling, just like any entertainment. So, just because you're the best shortstop does not mean that you'll get the spot like you would in baseball.
Mhm.
But I think nowadays there's so many great athletes and so many great just performers that your talent has to be different from the next person. And like if you take someone like Danhausen,
Mhm.
there really is no one else like him in wrestling.
Right.
Very true.
And that his talent isn't necessarily, and I believe he said this in a recent documentary, not necessarily being the greatest athlete in the world, but his talent is to kind of connect with the audience on a level that isn't just wrestling based. It's very much the persona of Danhausen and his interactions between talents and everything else. And that's kind of his talent. But I think, yeah, I think that talent is definitely one of the most important things because, there's so many just great e- people at everything on television now. And you have to produce, and that's kind of the way I see things.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to segue into your upcoming show at Respect, because one, we had Ray on, we love Ray. Um, but I want to just, what is it like to kind of see somebody that you've kind of had a mentorship kind of relationship with in the business, like do like really strike out on their own? And then we obviously have to talk about the upcoming match with Austin Aries, which is somebody who is just insanely talented and insanely well traveled. So yeah.
Um, Another accident was becoming kind of raised like mentor. Um, so that, yeah, but I travel with Ray a good amount, and those car rides, just like they were for me back in the day, those car rides are as important as going to training or being in a ring or learning in front of an audience. So those car rides, I kind of give him all the mistakes that I've made of what I've seen, and he kind of soaks that up. And for Ray, one, I think he's truly, and it's not because I'm very hard on him when it comes to like wrestling advice, but when it comes to commentary, I honestly believe he's one of the best commentators
The
out
best.
there. And the reason for that is that he's professional. And there's value in other commentary and having a good time. But to me, Ray does it in a way that respects wrestling, no pun intended. Um, yeah. So, and then to see him kind of fulfill his dream in becoming a promoter on an independent level, it's very, um, it's most people don't get to do their dream.
Hmm.
And even if you do it just one time, you've done more than the person next to you. And for him to do that is a great accomplishment. And I'm very, I hate to say proud because I'm not his parent or anything, but I'm very happy for him. And he takes, I believe he takes my advice on what we talked about in the past and kind of applies it. I can't say I agree with everything he does, but you also have to make your own mistakes and learn from them as well as from because that's what I did. I learned from my mistakes and what I thought would work doesn't work and things of that nature. But so far, he's been doing a great job in realizing his um, vision of what he thinks wrestling should be, and that's the thing when you do these. When you are a promoter or you're in creative or a booker, you're kind of trying to portray your version of what you feel wrestling should be, and you hope that other people will enjoy it just as much as you do. And I think so far Ray's on the right track for that.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny you bring up Ray's commentary because I really bother Ray a lot. I think he's like really regretting letting me be in his DMs, but I when I first like encountered Ray just as who he is, it was only via like his show or just like respect. And I had never really been up on his commentary game. And then we were interviewing, I think it was Joey Conway, and I was like researching for him. And I was like, is that Ray? I was like, oh my God. And I like messaged him. I was like, wait, hold on. And it was so amazing. And then the other day, I heard him again researching somebody else. And I voice memoed him. And I was like, literally, like, I just told the story, but I was like frying up chicken cutlets in my kitchen, like voice memoing him. And he just messaged me back and goes, sound like those chicken cutlets are getting the best of you. And I was like, oh, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, they didn't. But like, but he's just so crazy good at commentary. And I was like, it's so interesting to me that that's how a lot of people know you. And I, who knew nothing, like stumbled upon you doing it. And I feel the same. Like, it's just, you are that good. Like, you just have this finesse and just this amazing way of calling a match without overtaking it. He's just so good. But it's so funny. Every time person I talk to, that is always what they mention about Ray is how great he is on commentary, and I cannot tell him enough. So I just love that. I just had to mention
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. And that's the last good thing I'll say about Ray.
And that's fair.
um,
I'll say good things about him later. I'll DM him again and be like,
um,
back again.
no, 100%. But yeah, let's talk about the upcoming match because
It's gonna be sick.
it's gonna be sick. But it's also it's just like he's been everywhere. He literally everywhere. And then it's always interesting to me when somebody like who has that much experience like is the chaser in a match, is the person chasing the title. So yeah, what does this match like mean to you, and like yeah, what are you hoping to get out of this?
Well, not to give too much of the game, but
Hmm.
Austin Aries probably is the only dream match that I ever really wanted. And there was one opportunity in the past that maybe it could have happened, but um, want to be a company guy, and I did something else instead.
Mm,
It was actually that no ropes match. What was the other is what happened, which I don't regret or anything, but it's like one of those like, oh, what if this was my only opportunity?
yeah.
And here we are now, and this match is gonna happen. And like to me, Aries was someone prior to being in wrestling and also being in wrestling that I looked up to because he wasn't the biggest guy in the room, But he had such great verbal skills and such a great athlete and such a great wrestler that he was able to get to the top of so many promotions like Ring of Honor, like TNA. He made it to WWE. I mean, the fact that he was able to do all of that and not be necessarily what the typical wrestler is supposed to be due to various things is just was such an inspiration for me because it made me feel like I could do this as well. And to have this match, of course, on a personal level, means a lot. But I also have to kind of hide that part and realize it's time to go to work. And he's a multi-time world champion, and now he's coming after my title at the respect title, and I can't let that, um, for lack of a better term, mark in me, overtake me. And I respect him, but once that bell rings, he has to be any other opponent. And I have to make sure that I'm the best I've ever been that night and beat a former world champion in Austin Aries.
Mm.
Oh,
Whoa.
fantastic.
I'm like speechless. I'm scared for him and myself as an audience member. Do you have something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, because I was gonna pivot a little bit.
Please.
Okay.
Pivot away,
So,
pivot away.
thank you. This is again, I'm just like kind of remembering I really did such a deep dive on you today. It's like randomly coming in through like little like straws and stuff. But I um you had said also that you just happen to have like a great support system, which is like why like wrestling was able to be like a thing for you in a lot of ways. Do you still feel like you have like a great support system, whether it's family, friends, like promotions, like anything like that? Or like, is it kind of because also what I'm also trying to get at too is you had said earlier that like this is the most yourself you've been, like as a character, quote unquote. But like, and I think that has a lot to do because Xavier and I are also in our 30s, and like it sometimes it just you get to a point where like I just like have no choice but to be myself. Like I just like can't
This is
help
it.
it but be myself. This girl, this is it. But like, so do you still feel like you have like a great support system and like also even coming from within yourself, or is that just like totally hearsay I'm making up?
No, I think to a degree, I definitely have a good support system. I feel that maybe there are times where a lot of us as human beings don't realize the people around us and how much they affect and help your life because of various reasons. So I would say I definitely have a good small support system, but a lot of it does nowadays kind of come within myself. And some of the points that you were speaking about, I think in the past, and a lot of younger wrestlers, I think, feel this way as well. You kind of want to be like the most confident version of yourself, and kind of you kind of play a role instead of kind of using what you have inside of you and kind of building towards what your persona should be. And I think a lot of people are scared to look stupid or afraid of just not being the most alpha or the coolest person in the room or whatever the case is. And I think now, in the past 2 to 3 years, I finally have gain the confidence and realize that I need to be a version of myself that most people don't get to see. But you get to see some piece of me when I'm out there. So I do believe strongly in kind of this quote of you can't expect the world to cope with you. You have to
Mm.
cope with the world. And I think that's probably one of the most important lines that I've learned about life. So, the world can be very mean and it can be very nasty. But if you're going to wait for it to be nice to you, it probably won't happen. So
Mm.
you have to figure out how you can move through life in a positive way for yourself and the people that matter, and then your goals, and that way it doesn't stress you out or kind of gets to your heart or your mind.
Mm. That was very beautifully said.
Thank you.
Speaking of goals, what do you feel like you have to to accomplish? Like, what is like the immediate goals, I guess? Because we could talk, long term forever, but just what is on the immediate horizon for you?
I think clearly more championships, but so yeah, definitely that. More places to work, more places outside of the of my area, I would say definitely something which I've been branching out a lot more in the past year or so. But I think there's always more room for that. Um, just more opportunities with the TV companies, and obviously, I think it's pretty fair to say that um, a contract would be very nice.
Mm, for sure.
Yeah,
This is a really hard pivot, but I'm just curious. Did you like the film adaptation of V for Vendetta?
I did. Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Interesting.
Because I know a lot of people did not like it, but I think for me it worked. Um, it's kind of like it's one of those films that you're like, how did this get made? It's like a lot like
Absolutely.
They Live. Like, how did They Live by John Carpenter get made? Because it kind of tells you a lot
Mm,
about our society. So, and it's like, you would have thought that someone would have squashed it, I guess, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean that movie, They Live, those kind of movies kind of are ingrained in my blood. So,
Yeah. I feel like it's interesting that I feel like nowadays it would actually be more likely to get squashed than it would then. Because I don't think as many, and maybe this is just like ignorant of me, but like as many people were quite paying attention until like now.
yeah.
Because I remember that movie imprinting on me as a child and being like, maybe not a child, I don't remember how old I was, but I was like, no, do people know about this? Like, do people know what's going on? And like, on the 5th of November, I'd be like sitting around just being like, is anyone feeling what I'm feeling? Like, is
Mhm.
anyone? But I too liked the film adaptation, so you are also in good company. But I know it is a very polarizing conversation to have with certain people who are fans of the graphic novel. But I think the only part that inhibited me slightly was Natalie Portman's abysmal British accent, but we can forgive it's Natalie Portman. And what do I know? I'm not doing it. So
Yeah. Very, very true, very true.
God
But
bless her.
I try to separate each medium. What works in a book or graphic novel, excuse
Mm,
me, doesn't work for a movie and vice
mhm.
versa.
That's very
And
true.
if you don't like the movie, you always have the book. If the movie's better than the book, you have the movie. So,
Right.
Absolutely. That's very true. I feel the same way. And that was a really hard take. I was an English major in college, and that was a very hard debate to have with people about book adaptations to movies. And I'm like, it's an adaptation, adapting to something different. Like, so it's not going to be the book.
yeah.
But yeah, I so get that. I just had to know because I know it's polarizing. And I just looked at my V for Vendetta and I was like, ask him.
Yeah.
Well, I gotcha.
Um, you had mentioned earlier that you had like five matches that you're like truly like satisfied with. Like who were those opponents for you that kind of like brought the best out of you or challenged you in a way that left you like satisfied with with those matches?
Um, So it's funny because some of them are with people I don't necessarily would have Christmas dinner with. So and that's the really interesting part about wrestling is that you don't necessarily have to get along with certain people, and you can have this incredible chemistry with them.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean. I would say probably all the no ropes matches were satisfying in some way.
Mhm.
Um, I wrestled Darius Carter at a BCW show 2024, and that match I feel like was a satisfying match. Typically, those matches are ones that I feel like the what happens in the ring matches the story that we're trying to tell or have been telling for months. There's one against Kelsey Reagan, which is an intergender match. That that match, and she, I mean, for her, it was just a regular match, and maybe I kind of walked into it as well. You know, obviously we wanted to have the best match we could, but it was like that match kind of woke me up to the possibility of what Doctor Sleep can be. And I
Mm.
kind of unintentionally credit her because she was the reason why I was able to figure it out. That was actually the first time I did do the mandible claw as well in that match, and she
Whoa.
was one. She's a badass, and she's very game for so much, and she has a lot of fight in her. And you know, unfortunately for her, she wasn't necessarily my final girl, but she's still out there somewhere, waiting to take me out.
Mm. Love that. It's so interesting too because you have been doing intergender wrestling for a long time. Like if you go back pretty much to any of your like back in time to any year you were in wrestling, like there is an intergender match to be found. And it was really interesting because I think it was in the documentary you were like, well, it's also like it's great to be a heel in that match because like really you just go like I'm not gonna like fight a woman and it's like everyone hates you.
Yeah.
Like because we were just watching Lucha Underground last night. It was my first exposure to it and Son of Havoc was fighting is it something
Sexy
star?
star.
Sexy Star, iconic. And his only thing was like I'm not gonna hit a woman, so you better leave. And everyone was like get that guy, he sucks. And I was like, it seriously is the quickest way to piss me off. Like
Yeah.
it's so brilliant. But you've been doing intergender matches for such a long time. Like, how did that come about for you? Like, were you just like, yeah, like she's a badass. Let's fight. Like,
So I do, for me, I do value realism.
mm,
So that being said, I feel like all the women that I've wrestled uh, potentially could kick my ass.
hmm
So it really works out in that way. And in that documentary, obviously, that is the most basic story you can tell when it
Mhm.
comes to intergender.
right.
I like to think nowadays it's more of a horror chase scene between
Mm,
myself and
yes.
whoever I'm wrestling. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's like if I were to fight like a gorilla, probably gonna lose that. But to me, someone like Kelsey or Amity or whomever, I think it's very believable that they could kick my ass. They may not win, so I'm not gonna put myself down too much.
hmm
But there is the potential of kicking my ass, and so many other of my peers as well. So. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of people kind of harp on it, and in some ways I can understand it, but it's also our jobs to figure out how to make this come across in a way that our audience can understand. And there's a lot of wrestling that is maybe a bit fantastical, and it's not necessarily something I would enjoy. Uh, Doctor Sleep, to me, very much is in the real world.
hmm
Even though people might think that it's um, not of this world, but there's maybe some smoke and mirrors to that. But to me, realism always has worked for me. So
Mhm.
it's your job to make that story come across where you believe any opponent can beat you, or whatever the angle might be.
I love that idea of the angle with like the horror villain and the final girl.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
yeah,
And like that's so much more interesting than just like I hate women, I'm not gonna hit her.
yeah, yeah.
God bless. That's so great.
I actually I saw a match like that recently, and I was kind of rolled my eyes. I'm like, I think we could do better than
I
this.
think we've grown past this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have
But
just one more.
yeah.
Do you have any more, Kelsey?
No,
All right, cool.
we can release you from the shackles of this.
No, I wanted to ask just because Kelsey is new to wrestling. I always ask every guest for a suggestion of a match to show Kelsey, just to further her kind of like education, something that either was the something that you go back to repeatedly, something that yeah, just something you would show a new fan, or a match of yours that you would show a new fan. That
Ooh.
introduces Doctor Sleep like in the way that you'd like to be introduced.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say my match with Bear Bronson at
Mm.
Respect last July.
Fantastic.
I think that's a good way to start for me. I feel like I'm gonna pick a match you guys already saw.
Mm.
So one of my favorite matches of all time is Mankind versus Shawn Michaels at Mind Games in your
96.
house, '96. Yes,
Really?
That
yes,
match is so good.
So good.
yes.
Not one
So
you get often.
that's a match that I think it might be because there was a DQ at the end. But
Mm.
that match to me just is what wrestling is. Where are you guys at as far as you're watching?
We are
1998.
Yeah,
Nice.
so we're past Hell in a Cell.
Crazy.
And I think we're around like King of the Ring 1998.
Yeah.
Uh
Did
yeah.
we do King of the Ring already?
Yeah.
Ken
Ken
Shamrock
Shamrock.
just won King of the Ring.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we started 1996 and now we're in 1998.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll give you one that's maybe a little bit more outside the box and not WWE. And
Mm.
I'll talk about Austin Aries. There's a match between Austin Aries and Nigel McGuinness from Rising Above 2007 that
Mm.
you guys should try to look up.
Heard. I will
Oh, for
definitely
sure.
do that.
Ooh, I would love to
McGinnis
watch
is
that.
very underrated. That dude does
Yeah.
not get enough credit.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Ooh, I'm excited.
um, but yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
Seriously, we greatly appreciate it. Everybody, please, if you are in the area, check out Respect All or Nothing on July 24th. The main event is right here, Anthony Gangone taking on Austin Aries. Kelsey, any final words for our guest?
Just thank you so much. This was so exciting for me, and I hope I wasn't too freaky about it. 'Cause I was really
No, no,
so excited.
I feel like maybe in your life, some people say that you might be a little extra, but I
Mm,
welcome that because I think
Right.
that's a great attribute to have because you're being you, and that's all anyone could ask. So,
thank you.
yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course.
okay, so like wrap it up or
All right, guys, this has been another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, all that fun stuff wherever you happen to find us. For Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone, that's Kelsey, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.